players are making like efficiency bets.
Intro dates. All right, we'll go straight into the need to knows.
Players in the future, but for now, this one is.
This is their last attempt to save this game. Can they do it? That's the question. We're gonna find out. It seems good.
On Diablo 4 through the PC BattleNet client next week when we have a full blog that will explain kind of all the details of how to do that well before the start of PTR in itself. But then there's other notes with PTR as well, because there's probably going to be a lot of questions of like, well, am I starting with like...
He seems like he's stumbling, huh? He seems like he's lying to us.
Like a level 1 character.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Existing characters. Since PTR itself is a fresh new server, you will actually be starting fresh on PTR, but we do have boosting options available.
Oh, perfect.
Players to actually jump in and test out some of these features that were obviously in these system changes that we're doing specifically for PTR. So
now this boost that's just for the PTR, so not for actual game.
So I think we actually
just to test out the new features.
Speaking of which, I know I actually.
We will have boosting features enabled for the PTR. Things this will offer: instantly boost your character to 100 million gold, 1,000 obols. You can repeat this with new cares. Campaign completion, mount, and skill points. Okay.
Bring the camera back to me, Lucas. Sorry. I've seen a lot of feedback about, hey, you guys have a lot of slides. Sometimes the slides have a lot of information specifically
they can't catch a break. They're catching it from everywhere. From the way that the game performs to the way that they put out information in their slideshows.
A lot to share, but we also have a live build. So we will actually be going to the live build to showcase some of the changes, just because we know that a lot of players want to see more gameplay or see them in game. So we do have that here today. Okay, now we can go to the next one. So slide. So there will be PTR boosting features available for players that are jumping or any other characters.
Skill points, Paragon, Fog of War clearing, Altar Lilith points. So we're basically on the PTR just gonna have everything unlocked. Random set of rare gear. Class system mechanics complete. Oh, okay. Like your enchantments for your sorceress, all your little secondary side quests you unlock at like 15 for your characters. Paragon glyphs. Legendary drop rates doubled. That's good. You can really go in there and get like a fully built out character to actually test it. I can't be mad at that.
Capability there. There are like a few things that will be not present in PTR, but that is like, for example, one of the things is Codex of Power, but we'll explain why here in a minute. There's some more details related to Codex of Power for players to kind of understand why that's not present there.
Okay.
We will be accepting, of course, feedback for the PTR across all our different social channels, across all our different community channels, and we will be turning on a specific PTR forum on Diablo4.com. That is not on right now, so no one can actually see it. But once that does come online, we will also be checking feedback there. So please provide feedback based off of everything that you are hearing today and playing through during PTR between those dates that we actually mentioned, because the team is going to be looking at it and
they don't actually want the feedback. If the only feedback they accept is positive feedback, they're inviting themselves in for a world of pain if people don't like this. Brave, very brave.
Before the start of season 4. So with that, now that we've gotten through the PTR like housekeeping notes, Mr. Joe Pipe,
let's dive in. Okay,
let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
To cover today, so we're gonna try to move briskly through parts where we can. So there's 3 major things we're gonna be discussing today. The first, Charles will be bringing us through a number of itemization and crafting changes you're going to see when Season 4 goes live. I want to also be very clear that the changes we're talking about today are all going to be on the Eternal Realm and on the Seasonal Realm.
All right.
We're actually talking about the season specifically today. We're really talking about this massive item update and these other updates been happening kind of in parallel to season development during this time. So
hopefully we'll see a content update as well.
The next, I'll be guiding us through some of the new in-game content that we've
perfect
integrating into the Season 4 release. And then Adam Jackson is going to be coming on to talk about a lot of the live class updates making across the various mechanics in the game. So there's
I think the main thing that I'm getting from this right here, all the money that they should be spending on making this game better, they've actually invested it into these shrines in the background here. I think that might be where all of our pre-orders have gone, are strictly to these statues.
Let's go ahead and just, I guess, dive right in. Charles, if you don't mind taking us away.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start talking about itemization. So when we think about the itemization updates, I think it's really helpful to frame this conversation around some of the goals that we have for the itemization update. So our number one main goal here is to focus on quality of items over quantity of items.
All right.
So one of the persistent points of feedback that we've gotten since we've launched Diablo 4 last year was that a lot of the items that you find in dungeons and throughout the game, you end up just sifting through a lot of items,
Yeah.
searching through your inventory,
Dismantling most of them.
and ultimately a lot of the items just end up being junk for you. And
Yep.
that was never really, it never really felt great. And so with this update,
That shouldn't be a game mechanic. When constantly clearing dungeons and nightmare runs, a mechanic of the game shouldn't be going back to town to sift through everything you got and take it to the blacksmith to break down.
update, that's been our driving, our number one goal is to focus on making sure that when we do give you items, they're high quality items, they're much more likely to be useful for your build, rather than just flooding you with endless streams of often junk items. The second goal we have here is that the best items in the game, the really pinnacle ones that you get at the end game, they have a journey associated with them. As I said before, you were kind of sifting through your inventory and looking for these items, but once you found that perfect item, you were pretty much done. It was basically a complete item, and you're already done with the item. You've completed it. We think that the game is a lot more engaging when you have a bit of a journey and investment, whether it be in time, crafting materials, and you really get to customize and make items your own and make it feel like this is for me and my
Exactly.
character.
Yeah, and feel that power progression too. It's so critical to the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third goal that we have here is to focus on moments of surprise and delight in the itemization chase. This leads to moments of, hey, I found the item. You get really excited about it. And you're just,
I don't know if it's like this for everybody. For me, at least, whenever I kind of do enjoy the thrill of hunting down a legendary weapon that I know is just gonna put my build above everything else that I'm currently running. So if they're changing the spawn rates, like say on a build specific piece, that's good in the sense of, you're gonna get it a lot quicker. But as soon as I get that item, that thrill's kind of gone for me already. Like, I already got the item. I feel like there's not much more for me to do. I'm just trying to complete this build. And once I complete the build and do whatever hard content we have for the season, I'm pretty much done with it. So the faster that I get that item, the faster I'm going to be done with the season. So that could be a double-edged sword there.
Topics within the itemization update. So the overview here is that we've got updates to existing systems, such as base items updates. We've got a few additional updates that are kind of adjacent to the itemization system.
Tempering, okay.
We've got some updates to Codex of Power, which we sort of alluded to earlier, and I think those are going to be some really big wins. We also have some new systems being introduced here.
Greater affixes and masterworking.
It's going to be a new customization system. Greater affixes, which help to provide some chase in the end game. These are going to be some of those powerful items.
Okay.
Greater affixes.
There's where our chase comes from. That's what we're looking for.
With great gear, you're going to be able to masterwork it to really unlock its full potential and upgrade it to the best possible version that it can be. So let's hop into some of the base item updates. So this is where we're going to focus on
the base items. We have a smaller pool of affixes, more relevant and potent affixes, ranks and single core skills. Only sacred items in World Tier 3. Okay. Only ancestral items in World Tier 4. Wow. Okay. Affix values are punchier so that they can be felt. That's always nice.
Pool of affixes that are
That's nice.
More relevant and that initially
The base item updates, reduced number of affixes on legendaries from 4 to 3, and on rares from 4 to 2. So let's see. An example for this one, we have intelligence, vulnerability, and straight damage. So we're going to be losing one of these, which is good and bad, because like sometimes you can get, like, say, okay, for my build at least, like I wouldn't really be chasing this shadow damage, so I could go and rework that, right? But the lucky hit up to a 6.4 chance to execute, that's a pretty good one. So if I'm losing that and then only having the flat damage to whatever or whatever other affix it is, that could be I could miss that, honestly.
Drops. So legendary items used to drop with,
but they are going to be more potent.
Stats.
Remember, they said that.
3.
More
And
potent.
the yellow items used to have up to 4, and now they'll just go down to 2. And yeah, so the goal here, once again, is to really focus on the quality of the affixes that appear on the gear rather than just the pure quantity. And this also gives us room to build on it.
So that's what this shows.
And tempering systems. You are going to get more affixes.
So we lose an affix.
Item is going to start with a little bit less.
But we get like higher intelligence. I'm thinking that's what they're trying to show off here. Almost double. I doubt that's how it's going to be in the final build, but
trade in situations where you find like a really powerful template item. So you get a max roll helmet with CDR and such, right? Like there's these are still really important for players. So as part of this change, we are going to open up trading to allow legendary items and unique items to also be tradable in the starting in season.
this guy can't believe it.
4.
Focus on this guy.
Big change for us. Now, one distinct.
He looks very scared.
People keep this in mind is that crafting.
He's been affected the most by all the backlash for sure.
Working or anything else later on down the road. These things like enchanting does today.
Adam Jackson, lead class designer.
So you can't trade them once you get them after you've.
You don't have much skin in the game. Just a class designer. That's.
Does a great job of making
I don't think he gets much backlash. He's wearing it though, like a badge of honor.
item or an item is dropped.
This man's seen war.
It's going to be a lot easier for you to go and hand those things around now.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's.
By the way, I'm gonna know.
He can smile. Yes.
Trading is a big deal. Very important. I'm okay taking a back
Literally
seat.
appeared for trading. Yeah.
He appeared for trading.
Yeah.
Trading fairy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very important note, and I know
It went to the same slide. Okay, in development content, not final.
30 plus of these items, trying to sort through them all at once when you just really want to
Before and after. So yeah.
To fighting demons. So
Your base buff of whatever it is, intelligence, strength,
similar item,
dexterity is going to be up.
it has
So everything's going up. We're just missing one affix.
it's not hyper specific, and we still do.
Which I guess is a good trade-off.
If you're hitting vulnerable enemies with this, and
Can
it's
you get an item?
Because although the probability of getting one to roll that is good for your class, there is also more of a possibility of getting something that's just
has intelligence on it. It is
not good.
the main stat for your class. So if you are a sorcerer, you're only going to find intelligence on items. If you're a bard, you're only going to find strength, and so on.
I can still find all stat, right?
Yes.
all stats
Yeah, you
still
still have all stat.
Okay.
No more are you going to find,
Still all
I have
stats.
intellect on my barbarian. That's just basically a completely dead stat for you.
Got it.
All right, so let's talk about some of the other additional updates that are kind of adjacent to the main itemization updates.
legendary items dropped from monsters level 95 plus are always 925 item power.
Monsters that are level
That's
95
kind of good.
Are always going to be at item power 925. That is the highest item power in the game. And once you're really
That's kind of good.
monsters in the game, we want to make sure that you're constantly getting the best possible items. This really comes back to our idea of quality over quantity. Once you're at this point of the game, you don't really care about anything that isn't 925.
Yeah.
So why are we dropping that for you, right?
Throw it in the trash.
You're kind of graduating out of caring about item power because you just know that everything I'm getting is the maximum item power. Next, we've done a pass to update our gems. They are a little bit simpler. Some of the gems used to have, once again, those very conditional things like critical strike damage to vulnerable enemies was like one stat on one gem. So we simplified it. So now we just have bonus critical strike damage or bonus vulnerable damage.
Oh, okay.
Also added some updates to have core stats on them. So some of the gems will have strength, some will have dex, and so on. And they'll have a little bit of a longer crafting tail. They're a bit more.
Item rerolling gold cost capped. That's nice because it can get so pricey. So pricey whenever you just want to keep re-rolling, keep rolling. It's like gambling. Like the next time you re-roll it, it's gonna be the one you get, but it's definitely not. Material removal and consolidation. Okay. Forgotten souls from whispers. Rare drop globally from elites. Rare drops as in what?
At the top end, but they do require a bit more investment to really unlock that highest power level. And once
I do think there is a charm to farming Uber bosses.
So
There is kind of a charm there for me.
Waste once you have kind of found those best gems. Additionally, we've done a pass on the salvage crafting and rewards have all been retuned for this new world where we're dropping less items than before. Once again, we're focusing on you have less time sorting through your
See what else we got coming up here.
more time getting back in the action. Items.
Additional updates. Uniques earlier in the experience. Many uniques can drop from world tier 1 and 2. All uniques can drop from world tier 3. Uber uniques can start dropping from monsters level 55. Drops at 925. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Because that is part of the game, is the grind to level 100, you know? So if I'm maxed out already at level like 55, I get the unique I need. I get all the skills that I need on my gear. Like,
Currently,
I don't know what more is there.
3 and onward, they're really late game items, and we thought that to really get you into the fun faster, to get your build online.
Like, I acknowledge that they're trying to fix the game, quote unquote,
Tiers 1 and 2, so you can
but I don't want it to feel like it's on easy mode either, you know?
build going much quicker.
It's supposed to be kind of hard.
Once you do get into World Tier 3, then all of the uniques in the game have the potential to start dropping, including Uber uniques, which were typically the
Codex of Powers.
of the one that we just salvaged. Now this says 6% here. In game it was 12% because it was on a two-handed bow, and that doubles the range.
Okay.
But you can see it's not a minimum roll. Right now on live Diablo 4, it's always just a minimum.
So let's see. Let's go back here and try to give this the respect it deserves. So they're changing up the Codex of Powers.
Find something better, a better aspect crystal. The codex is kind of irrelevant.
So you can
Continue being relevant.
keep upgrading your Codex of Power.
It's going to upgrade.
That's good.
And you can continually.
That was always a thing for me in Diablo, especially, is I'd find like a really good roll on a Codex of Power item, but then I'd put it on an item that I thought that I'd use for the rest of the game until I found that next best item that boosted me up just a little bit more, but then I couldn't take that aspect back off, you know? So I kind of like that.
Legendary power onto any gear that you
Instead of it giving it to you at the base level, whatever it is, like this one is 5%. The more you level it up, you can get closer to that 20% and just keep reusing that. So that's pretty good.
And that's the new version that you have. So when we're talking about upgrading, what we really mean is like as you find the better versions of these aspects, they replace the older ones. Now, every time you decide you want to imprint the Codex of Power, that's going to be the version that you get from that point forward.
So if you find a max roll,
That's good.
Are you just super lucky? You have it forever?
You are super lucky, and you would have that forever. Yes, you can continually imprint it. However,
Wow.
the ranks of legendaries, you won't be able to find a max roll of these legendaries in World Tiers 1 and 2 when you're just starting out your journey. We have extended the range, so a lot of legendaries used to say, hypothetically, if a legendary rolled between 20% and 30%, now we've extended that range from 20 to 35%. But those like 30 to 35%, the highest range, the most powerful versions, those are only going to be accessible in World Tier 4 in the later games. So this does give you a bit more of progression. So
Okay.
you can find it early and you can upgrade it, but then you're going to find even better versions as you progress through the World Tiers.
That's good. That's good.
If we actually
Gives us some more chase. Let's see what's up with this tempering system.
New systems coming.
we're not done with optimization.
That was updates to
Halfway
existing
done.
things, but
Yeah,
we have
let's
got a lot of new stuff. So let's talk about tempering. Tempering is a new crafting system that will allow you to add really cool new affixes to your items.
Okay, new affixes.
So I really just want to highlight that this is not just taking those old really conditional nitty gritty aspects or affixes. This also includes a lot of really new exciting affixes as well that we'll showcase a bit later. Things like a chance to cast bonus projectiles, increased effect size of your skills, and other ways of talking directly to individual skills. A lot of this lives in tempering. And so this,
Okay.
yeah, so here's some screenshot examples of the actual recipes that appear. So on the left, we've got the manual of natural motion. This
So ancestral items can now have 2 tempered affixes from different categories. The manual of natural motion. Affixes can be applied to boots and amulets, movement speed after killing an elite, mobility cooldown reduction, and evade cooldown reduction. Then we have one for weapons, the bone augments. Chance for bone splinter projectiles to cast twice for necro. Okay, these are just necros. But I'm sure they'll have obviously more for all the other classes. Chance for bone spear projectiles to cast twice. That's the same thing. Oh no. Oh, bone spear. That's bone splinters, bone spear. Bone spirit explosion size, bone storm duration. So that's good.
generic recipe that really applies to any class. It's got a variety
Not any class.
of options on it.
That's for a necro.
You know, you categories. So you can't put, say, 2 defensive ones on there. You're going to
Okay. So in the blacksmith is where you're gonna get this done.
diversify. And in this case, we've got charge cooldown reduction added on the right. And we've also got some bonus damage while berserking. So we've got an offensive one here, and then we've got a utility one that gives us the cooldown reduction.
I like it.
Do we have a color? Yes.
Got the masterworking system as well.
Thing we've got. The next topic to talk about is masterworking.
Late game crafting system to upgrade items.
We're going to use to upgrade the items. So once you kind of find a really good base item, maybe it has some greater affixes on it, and then you've tempered on the affixes that you want. You know, hey, you found the exact affixes that are specific to your build that you've attached onto it. Now you're really pushing into the late game content. It's time to start masterworking. And masterworking has 12 ranks where you can upgrade the current affixes on your gear. So this isn't going to change any of the affixes like enchanting or like tempering does. This is just going to take the current ones and then upgrade them through 12 ranks.
This is kind of like the old gear upgrade, right?
Improves the value of your current affixes. 12 upgrade ranks. Most ranks slightly increase the value of all affixes. Every 4 ranks, a single affix is massively upgraded. Okay.
Kind of upgraded the item power and
So that's just refining your gear.
These two
I want to see what it looks like. Masterworking 3 out of 12. Oh my lord. You can just keep bumping this up.
roll randomly because we're only hitting 1. To Joe's point earlier about we still have some in development. This is in development content. It's not final, as the watermark says. The tempered affixes at the bottom, the golem active cooldown reduction and the bone critical strike damage, those also would be being upgraded and are eligible to have this this larger bonus. But in this particular screenshot example, those numbers.
So this is just like a better system of refining your gear.
Yeah,
Like whenever you go to the blacksmith to upgrade and all these stats go up, this is just going to do that as well, I'm guessing.
Get kind of 3 of
But everything.
These effects at rank 4, 8, and 12, and they can all go on the same one. So if you get really, really lucky and you really needed a lot of maximum life, you know, you might get just a ton of maximum life every time that increases. Or it could be on one of your tempered affixes. You could get tons.
This game pretty much has everything riding on this update.
You're looking for.
Everybody's done.
And once you fully masterworked it,
I truly believe that.
it didn't really
Coming from a player who spent $100 on the deluxe version of this game, I haven't touched it in months.
But you will kind of lose all the material.
If it's good, I might come back to it. Like,
That again, it doesn't completely.
but Blizzard's just fucked me over so many times. Like,
gloves or whatever that you've been.
I don't know.
You've tempered at this
It's all gonna come down to content. We should probably skip into that part.
Maybe you
Got some class changes, flat damage effects, hardcore updates.
Assuming you got through all that process, you can take it into the masterworking.
We got Helltide's update,
or, and governing stones, and continue to like just get more war.
boss ladders.
Again, we thought that was pretty fun.
The pit.
So we wanted to take some of these ideas back to Helltide, and I'll be actually I think it might be even easier if we could just throw it to Ruben potentially, who I think might actually be able to.
Yeah, throw it to Ruben. Let's see what's going on with the Helltides.
Fantastic. Looks like that's the case. So we want to take some of these ideas back to Helltide. Hello, yes, you're gonna get destroyed. Yeah, we want to take some of these ideas back to Helltide and make sure that our overworld, exciting, demonic invasion experience that players get to go through here is just more fun to engage with.
Was that just a giant hellworm belching a bunch of enemies at?
That
Ruben?
was a giant hellworm belching a bunch of enemies up. So a bunch of things have changed. So one of the things that let me dive in. So one of the things that we did is we add this new idea of a threat system. Now you'll see the eagle-eyed among you can look to the left
Okay.
of the minimap. Thank you, Ruben. Can look to the left of the minimap, and you'll see a horizontal bar segmented in 3 pieces next to that kind of like half-completed pentagram there. As the players are killing demons in Helltide areas, they are slowly growing their threat over the course of the experience. And as they do that, they're going to find like more like ambushes. They're going to find more creatures coming and trying to kill them as they kind of like roll through the space.
Okay.
They're gaining threat by doing anything. If they're opening tortured gifts, if they are killing like regular monsters and elites, you know, they're always earning more threat for the things that they do. The armies of
Where's the upside in that?
So as the player is going to go through this process, they are going to start feeling like more pressure as they go through the experience. Now, once the player is gotten
And dying in the Helltide sucks because you lose all of your embers, or most of them at least, your cinders.
Now you'll hear a tone, which I think that I think we might actually hear soon potentially. I guess we'll have to see. But you'll hear a tone alerting you to the fact that the armies of hell are basically coming for your blood, right? They're coming for you at this time. And in that case, you're going to see that there's going to be a new creature type that's going to appear, which we'll be able to get to in just
A new
second.
creature type.
Some of the other big changes that are happening
Okay.
in Helltide alongside this, while we kind of wait for some of this stuff to happen, is we have reduced the level requirement or the world tier requirement for Helltides. You'll start to see them in lower world tiers now, so they're a great way for you to level up. Okay, it looks like the forces of hell have been alerted. So now there's going to be like it's going to be almost a little more of a holdout. More invasions and ambushes are going to start to occur at this time, you know, and it's going to have a kind of a cap-off event towards the end. We'll talk about as it arrives. But you can see right now that threat is draining while this event is occurring. So you've kind of like reached that maximum threshold. You know, the minions of hell are coming for you.
Okay, so we got more enemies coming at us in the Helltide. That's what I grabbed from that.
As you're going through this, you'll see it's very, very similar to a lot of the things that we did in the Abattoir Zir. You know, we want to make sure that this is a quick, punchy experience as you're playing and you're killing monsters. You're not going to be getting any loot from the drops. Like that stuff's not here to
Slay the Pit Guardian minion.
It's just about like pushing as hard as you can. Now, a couple of the major differences between what we've done in the Artificer's Pit and what we did in the Abattoir Zir is first, in the Abattoir Zir, when a player died while going through the experience, they were immediately ejected from the Abattoir Zir. Like
Yeah.
In the case of death. Here, we want to allow for a little bit more, a few more problems to occur, a few more errors, you know, from the player as they're kind of going through. So that every time you die, what actually ends up happening is you add 30 seconds to your timer.
We got updates to the boss ladders,
Likely to beat the timer.
and the rest of it's a Q&A.
At the end of the timer, you're not.
We'll see how it goes, man. We'll see.
Managed to keep the timer.
If it's good, hey, hats off to Blizzard. I can't hate.
Tied to masterworking material.
But they really have so much writing on this. There's so many other games people could be playing.
Earlier is the
So many more ARPGs that people are already invested in, have swapped over because they've been
so while you
just let down by Blizzard.
and you will get rewards for having to
I'm rooting for him.
by the end of a pit run if you don't manage to finish with the timer. You won't get access to those.
I don't want to hate just to hate, but
So why is this?
you know, actions do speak louder than
Recognize that we think it's very unique
playtests.
to Diablo.
So we'll see what happens.
SARPG